Steve Wynn, one of the top donors to the Republican Party, one of the top donors to Donald Trump. In fact, recently organized a dinner for Donald Trump attended by donors to the tune of $100,000 a plate. Jeez, and Lord mercy. He's given millions of dollars to Republicans overall in just this last cycle. Now, but then it turned out that there have been an enormous amount of allegations of sexual harassment and assault against Steve Wynn, who owns huge casinos in Vegas and in China. And that story was broken and seems to be incredibly real and credible. And so Steve Wynn has stepped down as the RNC finance chair. I mean, that's a gigantic role. And also even as CEO of his own Wynn organization. So I guess he's not winning anymore. Okay, but if there's one thing I know about Republicans, they cannot stand sexual harassers, especially ones that give money to a political party. Now I know this because the head of the RNC, Ronna McDaniel, had earlier talking about Harvey Weinstein and how he'd given money to the Democrats. Here she is tweeting at the time, whose side is Hillary Clinton on? Harvey Weinstein's or his victims? Oh, that's a great question. Well, Democrats returned all the Weinstein money. I wonder if we're going to ask that question of the Republicans in a minute. Anyway, let's keep going. Ronna McDaniel also had said, where's Hillary Clinton? Where's she standing on this issue? She's been silent. Her silence is deafening. So that was a couple of days. Now, Wynn's been accused for well over a week. The Republicans, oh yeah, they still have his money, but we'll get to that. One more from Ronald. She said, this is something Republicans and Democrats should agree on, that it is despicable and you should have Democrats returning those donations. Well, okay, well, she's very clear on that. In fact, here she is on television talking about it.
Ronna, will the RNC be giving back those donations made by Steve Wynn? We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. Sean Spicer last night saying absolutely the RNC should give those back.
So the allegations in the Wall Street Journal were deeply troubling. They were so troubling that within 24 hours, Steve was no longer our finance chair. But Steve has denied these allegations, unlike Harvey Weinstein and Al Franken and others. Steve has denied them. There is an investigation that's going to take place. He should be allowed due process, and if he is found of any wrongdoing, we will absolutely return 100% of that money, but we're gonna let due process take place.
So fair to say there's no plans right now to give those donations back?
We're gonna let the investigation take place.
In other words, no. Now that was back in January 30th. Have they given the money back yet? Nope. So that was recently. Now let's go to an ad that the Republicans ran back in October, because I know they care deeply about this issue. Let's watch.
Our society still does not sufficiently value women. We still don't condemn sexual assault as loudly as we should.
Women's rights are human rights, and human rights are women's rights, and I believe that with all my heart.
We make excuses. We look the other way.
I went to 112 countries for all of you. I raised it in every country.
The message that sends can have a chilling effect on our young women.
I looked across the table at dictators and authoritarians and chauvinists and sexists and misogynists. Yeah.
I want to start by thanking Harvey Weinstein. He is a wonderful human being, a good friend, and just a powerhouse.
Return all the dirty money from Harvey Weinstein. So will the Republicans that have gotten money from Steve Wynn return the money? Well, let's now go. You heard from Ronna McDaniel saying, we'll let an investigation happen. We'll come back to that concept in a second. Now we're going to go to the Republican Senatorial Committee Chairman Cory Gardner. Let's hear from him.
So as chairman of the NRSC, what are you planning to do with that $100,000 linked to Steve Wynn?
Look, we're considering make sure we do the appropriate action.
Will you donate away that money from Steve Wynn?
Yeah, we're going to take the appropriate action. That's something that I think we've always been prideful on, making sure that we do the appropriate action. But more
and what is the
importantly
appropriate action?
Well, that's what we're talking about at the committee.
So no decision's been made yet?
No.
No. Are we returning the money? Nope. The silence appears to be deafening. Later in that interview, He wanted to say, well, did the Democrats return the Weinstein money? And the anchor was like, yeah. He's like, well, we don't have to do what the Democrats are doing. Okay, I got you. So now we go to Mediaite. Joseph Wolfson saying, when asked if the GOP will give back Wynn's reported $375,000 in contributions, McDaniel insisted that Wynn, quote, should be allowed due process. Now, by the way, $375,000 is actually among the smaller donations Wynn made. Will Trump give back Wynn's donations and the money he raised through all those events? Of course not. They're not even bothering to ask him. It's Donald Trump. Of course, not going to return the money. So how about the GOP overall? Well, they say due process. But as Wilson points out here, despite Wynn having stepped down from the RNC as well as from his own company, RNC chair Ronna McDaniel's taking the innocent until proven guilty route, a virtually meaningless stance since Wynn likely will never stand trial. So wait, when do we get to prove he's guilty? There are no criminal charges right now. So by that standard, oh golly gee, I guess we'll have to keep the money forever. Okay, they had one other standard. Even as recently as yesterday, when it was announced that Wynn was resigning from Wynn Resorts, an RNC spokeswoman reiterated their position that, quote, unless a board investigation finds him guilty of wrongdoing, they won't be giving back the money. How could a board do an investigation if he's already stepped down? They're basically rubbing your face in it. They're like, hey, idiot Democrats, we got you to give away your money and we pounded you. We ran ad after ad about it and we said you were the worst, etc. When it comes to us, very similar allegations. We're just going to keep the money. What are you going to do about it? Now, it's not just because they want the money. They actually, by the way, the RNC at this point has literally tens of millions of dollars more than the DNC does. They're in great financial shape because the donors were thrilled with their tax cuts, so they're pouring money into the RNC. So it's not that they need the $375,000. It's to send a message, twofold. One is, we never admit to anything. We never give an inch. We make the Democrats give up everything. We make the Democrats kill off their own senators, their everything else, and then we never reciprocate because that's how we roll. And so if you don't like it, who cares? And our voters, they don't mind at all. So every time we've talked about sexual harassment or sexism or anything related to Democrats, it was all just politics. We don't care about the issue at all. That's message number one. Message number two is, and the more important one, because it's more practical in their case, if you're a rich donor and you did a lot of scummy things, we don't care. We got your back. We'll take your money, we'll keep your money, and we'll keep on defending you. The Democrats will sell you out. They'll call you a bad guy and they'll return the money. Us, no. If you're a scumbag millionaire or billionaire, the Republican Party is home for you. And we've got your back no matter what you do. That's the message being sent here. They're sending it to the rest of their donors. Don't worry, you can trust us. We're never gonna throw you under the bus no matter what you did. Well, there you go, that's the Republican Party. If you become a member of the Young Turks, you'll be saying,
you know, I'm like a smart person.
So do it right now, tytnetwork.com/join. Get the whole Young Turks show every day.